I think I was muted. So I'll repeat what I was just saying. I didn't realize my mic was muted there. So happy New Year. We had a great live stream on New Year's Eve there. Had a lot of fun, and I was foreshadowing what we were going to talk about today. The plan was to have Brooke Day on here, but things got busy for him, so it's just going to be me and you guys. We're going to just kind of jump in the chat here, have a conversation, get what your guys' thoughts are. So the title of this video, thank you, PDS. Yeah, I didn't realize I had the microphone on mute. A lot of technical difficulties this morning. Couldn't get my laptop working. That's why I'm in my recording studio. So, yeah, just a little bit of technical difficulties. So, but we're past that. We're rocking and rolling here. But like I said, Brooke's not here with us. But we're going to be talking about what can we offer Canadians. And Brooke and I got into talking about on the stream on New Year's Eve about whether we're talking specifically about us, the populist movement, the freedom fighter movement. What is our next sell for people? Because we were making the argument that the whole COVID thing, people are kind of tired of hearing about it. The passion surrounding it is kind of withered. I mean, we did have the first 2 years of the pandemic where there was just an uproar of, and the battle's still going on, but the thick of it, I think, was the first 2 years, and we had the trucker convoy that really ramped things up. So in order for us to make any headway in 2023 and the years to come, what are some issues that we need to start tackling now and grab people's attention with? So I want to know what you guys think some of those issues are. I have some issues that I have been talking about for quite some time, and these are issues that I think we need to start pushing in the forefront of the conversation, not so much about COVID and the pandemic or the jibby jabbies. So thank you guys. Yeah, I'll put these on the screen here, PDS. I think we got that figured out. Yeah, don't know if it's my PC, but I can't hear you yet. I think we're all figured out. So let me know where you guys are listening from. I always like to hear how far we're reaching. I'm here in southern Ontario. We're a border city with Port Huron, Michigan. So let me know where you're listening from and say hi. Yes, thank you, Seeker Being. He says digital currency, and that's one of the things that, because I have some tabs that I'm going to share with you guys in a bit, but that was one of the things. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. Really, the Netherlands, that's awesome. So you guys have quite the fight going on there as well. So that's awesome that you're joining us. Let's compare notes. So if you're in the Netherlands, let me know what kind of thing you mentioned. Digital currency. What other things do you guys find over there that you guys can rally around to be your next sell, I guess? But yeah, we'll touch on that in a second. So yeah, digital currency. Yeah, we do not want that. I agree. PDS is in Toronto. Awesome. I got 2 brothers living in Toronto. I got a big family. Someone's watching from Italy. Awesome. So we got a kind of a worldwide representation with the 7 people that are online. That's awesome. So yeah, with that said, that's a good note. Thank you, Seeker Being. I wish the farmers. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of tensions going on over there, and it seems like we're fighting the same battle, aren't we? But thank you for bringing up digital currency. The video I want to play for you right now is a video I put together a number of months ago that kind of shows the 10,000-foot view of some of these policies and implementations that our government wants to apply here in Canada, and I just show the whole picture. So let's watch that together. I'll get your guys' reaction as we go here. I'll stay on screen, but let me share that for you. And you can watch this for yourself. It's on my channel. You probably have to scroll for a bit because it was a few months ago, but yeah, please share this out. I think it's the more eyes we get on this, the better. So I think that is it there. So let me just, how do I do that? Make it bigger. There we go. And let's watch.
Hey guys, Brandon McCaskill here, bringing you another video in the hopes to inform and encourage you to stick to your guns when it comes to standing up for your freedom here in Canada. If you're new here, I want to welcome you and invite you to subscribe so that you can be alerted when things happen on this channel. I do interviews, update you on the latest things happening, and most importantly, I make videos like the one you're watching right now that are short, to the point, and easy to share with your friends and family. That said, let's get right into today's topic. A lot of us know by now that the government of Canada is pushing through a new legislation through a bill called S233, which is sold and advertised as Universal Basic Income. Another way they say it is a Guaranteed Livable Basic Income, which it sounds really awesome, and they're sure not shy about telling you why it's awesome. Just imagine, they'll tell you, a system that will reduce poverty, broaden income equality, and improve physical and mental health. It'll lead to positive job growth and lower school dropout rates. It will guarantee income for non-working parents and caregivers. You can be sure that millions of Canadians will grab hold of this. And why wouldn't they? All those benefits I just mentioned, those are really great things. I personally believe giving money to Canadians is so much better than wasting it in other areas that benefit politicians alone. But the question is, are those benefits I just mentioned all there is to know about this? I think you know where I'm going with this, and the answer is no.
Sneaky smile.
There's a lot to be aware of, and we need to zoom out and look at this from a 10,000-foot view. Like I said, I think the benefits of UBI are really attractive, but there's also downsides. I'll actually leave a link in the description of this video so you can read about some of the flip sides to having a universal basic income. But let's move on to another question, and this is specifically for what's happening in Canada. Are there other things at play that contribute to Bill 233?
The word is yes, Carl.
The government of Canada is implementing a digital ID, which is intended to reduce costs for renewing physical forms of ID and to make it more convenient for people who don't like carrying physical ID. You can download your driver's license, your health information, and yeah, they also sell this as innocent, claiming that your digital information will only be stored on your phone in your wallet app, having no connection to a central data collection system. Also, that you have the choice to use this digital ID. They say you can choose to remain using physical forms of ID. So once again, this all sounds okay. I mean, me personally, this wasn't the #1 pet peeve I've had as a Canadian citizen, but I get that it's convenient and it's understandable how it would reduce costs of having to renew driver's licenses and that kind of thing. But the giant question mark here should be, can we take them at their word that our information will not be monitored? It's a fair and not so foreign question.
Heck to the no.
Considering we recently just saw our government freeze bank accounts of Canadian citizens all over the country for daring to financially donate to what a judge has ruled as a lawful, peaceful protest, which also means that evoking the Emergency Act was totally inappropriate. So if our government was willing to overreach on citizens that they disagreed with politically here, why are we to believe that they'll leave us alone in the case of keeping our information private? I'm not done building on this, but before I expand on this, let's get into one more thing that's also coming down the pipe in relation to Bill S233 and digital ID, and that is the implementation of a social credit system. This system is being used in communist China right now. It's a data collection apparatus that keeps the government informed on a lot more data than paying your bills on time. It's much like any credit system, but this expands it to specific activity, like if you're caught jaywalking. If you don't pay a court bill, play your music too loud on the train, you could lose certain rights, such as booking a flight or train ticket. So the goal would be to make the mommy and daddy government gods happy by maintaining a healthy credit score. Now, even some of these things could be argued as good for society. Why wouldn't we want to crack down on things that disrupt positive growth of society? But let's take a step back again. This type of power in anybody's hands opens the door for what we are already seeing with our leaders. They act on politics and not on principle. So what does that mean for some of us who refuse to make certain medical decisions that these same governments despise? I say despise because they truly do, and they've continually groomed the public to think and feel the same way.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
The overwhelming majority, close to 90% of Canadians, have done exactly that. The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
Il est en train d'hésiter un petit peu. On va continuer d'essayer de les convaincre. Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination,
Qui sont extrémistes.
qui ne croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère?
So let me ask you this. What does a social credit score combined with a digital ID and a universal basic income look like for someone who doesn't want to make that medical choice? Or simply someone who holds different political views than this government that we know reacts politically? I have one more thing to add before we wrap this up. In Canada, we're also going to be seeing the introduction of a government-controlled, centralized cryptocurrency. And this is coming very soon, so I think it's very important that we all start doing our homework on what's coming our way. This move by our government transitions everything we know about our physical money, so coins or plastic bills, and converts them to a digital currency that they can monitor and control. If you think this is outlandish, then you should visit Canada's Wonderland. They've already gone cashless. And we have people like the NIH pointing out that paper money and coins are potential vectors of transmissible disease. So yeah, as I'm sure you guessed, digital currency is sold as a wonderful, convenient tool. It'll combat money laundering, reduce crime, yada, yada, yada. But we're still left with this shattered trust that we have in the players that are calling the shots. So let's ask one more question. What does it look like for a Canadian citizen, one the government despises? What does it look like for them in a social credit system, combined with a digital ID and a universal basic income in the form of government-controlled currency? It all comes down to trust. There is virtually no reason to trust this government wouldn't overreach their hands towards citizens that they disagree with. They've segregated their political opponents by implementing policies and using rhetoric that divided communities against communities and families against families. This wasn't about your health. This wasn't about science. Their goal has already been laid out. Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum brags about penetrating over half of Trudeau's cabinet. They're open about this. This is the new world they want. They're calling it the Great Reset. And it's all about silencing the opposition, pushing forward an agenda, and maintaining power and control. Our democracy has died. But guess who hasn't? You and I. We can still take actions. We can still make these truths known. So let's continue to rise, engage the conversation, and wake this country up. There's still so many of us sleeping in this country, despite the loudness of those truckers' horns. So hold the line, folks. Get out there, share this video with a friend. And of course, if you don't mind, do all the things the algorithm loves to push my video farther out there.
All right,
by
cool.
liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless.
Right on. So yeah, that was the kind of the whole picture. That took me a while to make, but I thought it was pretty important to get that message out. And someone said here to look up Ontario websites. Yes, if you're referring to what they talk about in terms of digital ID, that's one of the tabs that I have ready, and I'll share that with you guys right now. Right here. Let's have a little read. This is digital ID in Ontario, at least. Learn about Ontario's digital identity program, which introduces a new convenient way to prove who you are that will make accessing online and in-person services simpler, safer, and more secure. Yeah. So what digital ID is and is not. Digital ID is an electronic version of trusted government identification that provides better safety. That's a bold statement. Trusted government identification, more security and stronger privacy than physical identification cards or documents. It can be securely stored in a digital wallet app for smartphones and other digital devices, like tablets or computers, and will let people and businesses prove who they are, or who they are both online and in person. Digital ID is the foundation that will enable easier access to online services and make Ontario one of the world's most digitally advanced jurisdictions, with a value for Ontarians' businesses and the government that is essentially estimated at $20 billion. Yada, yada, yada. So yeah, digital ID is convenient, secure, privacy preserving, verifiable, in your control, voluntary. Here's what it's not stored in a central database, not a tracking device, not usable without your permission. Right. But neither were our bank accounts last winter. That's my point. And that's what I was highlighting. And I know that video that I shared has aged since the Emergencies Act inquiry, which is like, I just heard, I don't know if it's true. Maybe one of you guys can fact check this, or I just saw someone tweet about it, but the commissioner, the guy in charge, he's like somehow related to like through marriages, through it's like Pierre Trudeau's sister that he married or something like that. There's some sort of family relation. So it's just like, oh great, that's a good person to have seated at the helm of this very important topic and issue. But anyway, I'll close that. Seeker Beings, it's a great video. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. It took I think it took me like 12 hours in one day, because I work from home. I set my own hours, but I was just like, you know what? I don't care if I make money today. I'm gonna put this video out. I definitely don't get paid a lot here on the channel. So when I dedicate time, it's costs a lot. Put it that way. But I'm glad I did it, because I think it's very, very important. Great video, Brandon. Thank you, PDS. It was a great video. Thank you. Aha. Is that how you say it? Aha. Or unless you're just laughing. Like, ha ha ha. PDS, people are still sleeping. It hasn't affected them yet. Yeah, no thanks. Yep. All right, so that's that stuff out of the way. And like I said, I would appreciate if you guys would take that link either after the stream or now, whatever you want to do, open up a separate tab. You have to scroll down a little bit because it's on my channel, but just tucked away. Actually, let me show you just so it's easy for you to find. Let's go on over to here. I'll have to do this first. Bear with me. There we go. Share screen, boom, and boom. So here's YouTube. I'll show you my channel. I'll show you what the thumbnail looks like so that you can just grab it. So if you go to videos, scroll all the way down past all this stuff. It's this guy right here. So the thumbnail says UBI, the big picture. Yeah, so if you could share that out, I think this is those. Well, there's lots of tentacles to that. You notice, I think I went through the 4 tentacles of that: the universal basic income, digital ID, the whole spiel. So that's a good one to share out. All right, cool. Let's move on. Yes. Richard Harlem sent me a square. I don't even know how to do that on a keyboard, so that's impressive. Do the 5. Right on. All right, so moving away from that subject, because I don't think we need to beat a dead horse. A lot of us are aware of that. Put in the link, Brandon. Oh, sure. Absolutely, I can do that. Let me grab that for you. I closed it, so I have to grab it again. 1 second. But I'll talk as I do this. So with that out of the way, I think the next thing I want to talk about is what Maxime Bernier has been kind of vocal about, which is mass immigration to Canada. How that's a huge subject. It's one of those subjects that, and I'm going to show you a video where it's like striking a nerve with people. They can't believe that he'd say something like that. So something like that, I think. Oh, sorry. Something just blasted in my ear. All right, here's the link. Let me throw that in the comments for you guys. Boom. Oh, it came through as Momentum Canada and Brooke Day, because Brooke's account is hooked up to this stream. So that's the link for you. But yeah, so let me share. I'm going to kind of give you a couple different perspectives. So we'll call them the critics of Maxime Bernier, which I think this is the one I want to start with. So I'll kind of give you how they're viewing Maxime, and they interview people. So let's watch this.
Well, Alan, it took less than 30 minutes for this billboard to be torn down and replaced. It caused much controversy from coast to coast, as many believed it was being used to spread anti-immigration rhetoric. It's an ad campaign that carries some shock value, and these billboards featuring People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier started popping up across the country late last week. Say no to mass immigration.
Say no to that billboard. It's crazy. I think it's nuts.
Good
I
one.
think there needs to be some sort of protection, perhaps, for the community with any far-right messages.
And it's the political message that's under fire. The slogan, which advocates against mass immigration, appeared on billboards in cities including Winnipeg, Quebec City, Halifax, and Toronto. And after a weekend of criticism, the company that owns the billboards, Pattison Outdoor Advertising, removed them. The People's Party of Canada did not place the ads. They were paid for by True North Strong and Free Advertising Corp. But party leader Maxime Bernier, who has been vocal about his stance on immigration, defended the billboard Sunday night during his campaign launch in Ste. Marie, Quebec.
We need to go back. We need to have fewer immigrants, but we need to be sure that these people would be able to integrate our society, to be part of our society.
The billboards hit a nerve with many who took offense to these 5 words: say no to mass immigration.
Being a first-generation Canadian myself and my parents being immigrants, I couldn't imagine something of this sort ever being allowed in Canada.
People have a free speech, but there's a certain boundary that you have to stay between. Yes, you can say what you want, but if it's going to be hurtful to other people, then you should just not say it.
But
That's
will
not
the
a
ad
thing.
campaign impact the upcoming election? Polls suggest the People's Party of Canada is sitting at about 4%.
What did that girl say? She said it's kind of like freedom of speech. You can say what you want as long as it doesn't hurt people. That's not freedom of speech. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry at the same time.
When it comes to voter support,
I think he knew what he was doing. I don't think he expected that the billboards would come down. Not only is he going to save money, he's getting all this free advertising. We're talking about it.
now the billboard didn't stay empty for long. It was replaced with an ad for bananas. Nonetheless, it got people talking, and that's exactly what it was intended for. Reporting live, I'm Morgan Campbell. Allen?
Yikes. Yeah. So I'm going to close that. So as you can see, that's causing some friction with the opposing side, whatever we want to call them, the left, the liberals, whatever. And I had a good discussion on, because I have a lot of people who disagree with me on my social medias, which I think is good. I'm one of those guys that, even locally, I have a Facebook group that I started with our community. I try to get everybody talking. If you hate each other, let's talk, right? I invite everybody to the group. I don't delete anybody. And I had someone challenge me on what it means to be a classical liberal versus a progressive liberal. And we got into the discussion on that. So whatever you think of left versus right, classical parties, whatever this side is that doesn't like this mass immigration statement that Maxime Bernier's bringing to the forefront. That's their perspective. And there's another article I want to bring up just to kind of solidify what they're saying in response to Maxime Bernier. Let me read your guys' comments first. Share with Maverick. Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. I'm friends with Rick and Brendan. Can you see my text? Yes, I can see you. Awesome. Yep, everybody's saying yes. Awesome. Weird stuff going on. Because just since, oh yeah, it was you sending the squares. Well, that's impressive because I don't even know how you did that. I don't know how you sent a square. Seeker being, it is changing everything here in Europe. This is no longer a conspiracy theory. No, it's far from it. It's in their like it's on their websites. They're talking about it openly. Yeah, it's not a good thing, believe me. No, it is not. It's not. Awesome. So let's go on to the next thing here. Okay, this is the one here, I believe. Yes. All right. So we'll just read this. Let me zoom in. This is from the Bellissimo Law Group, PC, Canadian Citizens and Immigration Lawyers. Is mass immigration in Canada or in Canada's best interests? What's the story? Posted by Mario Bellissimo. Okay. So what is mass immigration? He defines that. What do immigration numbers say? So he breaks it down. The rationale, well, by 2026, the first baby boomers will celebrate their 80th birthdays. The relationship, perhaps, between increased population and number of deaths is self-evident. However, the unique socio-scientific calculations owed to the baby boomers are such that the above trend will be amplified as this cohort of Canadians continues to age. Okay, so I just want to read. Oh yeah, it was in the first paragraph. I wanted to see if he accurately represents what Maxime Bernier is saying. So there was quite the stir a few weeks ago when billboards ran for a short time in various cities throughout Canada with the simple but loaded message, "Say no to immigration." The advertisements were linked to Maxime Bernier of the People's Party of Canada. Bernier seemingly argues enough is enough, and the consequences of mass migration are numerous, including the pervasive view that immigration drives up housing prices. Is this true or political dog whistling? Let's take a closer look. All right. So let's go on over to Maxime Bernier, where he's being interviewed, and he talks about this. So let me stop that share and go on over. So this is on Rumble because I believe that's the only platform Maxime is allowed to be on. I mean, the guy is censored heavily.
Justin Trudeau's government has announced his plans to legally bring in 500,000 immigrants a year, which is a stunning number. That's got to be more than any other democracy in the world.
Yeah, so guys, before I go any further, I just kind of want to give my fresh, like, because I say fresh because this is so new to me in terms of thinking about this kind of stuff, because I'm not an immigrant. My dad was an immigrant when he was a little kid, but I just don't know this subject very well. So I'm interested in your guys' comments below on whether this is a bad thing and what kind of negatives that this provides for Canada, or if you think this is a good thing, if migration is a good thing at this scale. What are your arguments? I'd love to know what you guys think. My overall, like my first impression on this is, because I see this happen in our city where we have a community college that is very well known for its foreign exchange student program. So we have a lot of students from overseas come to our college, and students, specifically, I've noticed people from India, they are booking hotels and rooming 8 people at a time because they see that as worth it, as coming to Canada and living that way. So for me, on a humanitarian perspective, is, you know, how we should treat human beings, we weren't prepared in terms of infrastructure for this type of mass migration just in our own city. Like, there's no affordable housing lined up for them. Now, I know there are people that have caught on to that and recognized that, and they are trying to do something. There's a contractor, young guy from, I think he was from India. And during the campaign, me and Brooke had a chance to talk to him. Brooke was able to talk to him a little more deeply, but I just kind of got the tail end of their conversation. But he was a contractor from Toronto, and he came to Sarnia, and he wanted to do something about these students not, you know, having appropriate living conditions. So he was converting our old high school that was closed down, and it was up for there was bidding wars going on of what the city was going to do with this big, beautiful, more than 100-year-old high school. Like my parents went there back in the day, and this young guy, they started to convert it into these residential housing units. So that's my overall reaction to this. I'm open-minded. I'm definitely gonna see what I can learn from you guys, and as these next few weeks and months unravel, I think this is going to be a hot button issue that'll be worth the debate and the attention. So let's keep watching.
And I just think of how that would affect things from wages to housing prices, but I haven't seen any commentary or criticism of this from other political parties or even other mainstream media. What is your take? What is the People's Party of Canada's take on a record 500,000 migrants a year coming to Canada?
Yes, Ezra, I must say that you are right saying that, all these establishment national political parties, the Conservative, the NDP, and the Green, the Bloc Québécois, they won't speak about that. Each of one agreed with that position of 500,000 people starting in 2025. And for us, we are saying it's mass immigration. Yes, we must have sustainable immigration, but we believe that we must have lower.
So catch that. He just said he's for sustainable immigration. So there's a difference between sustainable and mass. So he's pointing out we can't just bring them in when we're not ready for them. So the way we'll call them the left, the way they're painting him is that he's just this racist. I haven't heard them calling him that yet, but I won't be surprised if that's the terminology they'll start using. But that he frowns upon immigrants coming here. I mean, in that, what was it? World Global News. I can't remember the video that we watched. But they were interviewing people in the street, and the one girl was just like, "Yeah, I'm an immigrant, so this guy's terrible." Like that. He's not saying he doesn't like people who immigrate. He's just saying we need to be able to sustain it. So
immigration than that number. And actually, 500,000, it is the population of Newfoundland every year in Canada. Every year we'll have a new Newfoundland in Canada, starting at 2025. So that being said, they're saying always more and more people. It would be important for economic growth. You don't need to have more people to have prosperity and economic growth. There's small countries that are very prosperous. The most important is to increase our purchasing power, our standard of living, and if mass immigration were a solution for that, Trudeau started mass immigration in 2019 with 350,000 people, and after 400,000 people, and we still have, inflation in this country, and our purchasing power is going down. So what they're saying, more and more people will bring more prosperity. That's not the case.
You said it's like bringing in a new Newfoundland every year. That's statistically right, but of course they're not going to Newfoundland. I think the majority of them are going to Toronto, Vancouver. Some French-speaking migrants would probably go to Montreal. So they're really going to the big cities, which is understandable because many of these folks are coming from ethnic communities that they would probably want to live in or amongst or near. So what you're really doing is you're pouring probably 300, 400,000 of these people into the housing markets in Vancouver and Toronto, which are already two of the most expensive cities in North America to live in. I mean, the average housing prices in Toronto is well over $1 million for an average house. Same in Vancouver.
You know that, PDS.
I don't know why people don't make the connection between supply and demand. Like you bring in 500,000 more people a year, you're going to need hundreds of thousands of houses in addition to existing housing requirements. I don't know how Trudeau or anyone can claim to talk about the cost of housing while almost doubling immigration.
Yes, you're right, Ezra. And, 500,000, it's a lot of people. And actually, I was able to watch an interview that Pierre Poilievre did with the National Post 2 days ago. And he said this country is a huge country. So they can go, in, Newfoundland and other places. But the reality is, and you were right about that, 42% of them, if you look at the data and the statistic, 42% of them are going to Toronto and Vancouver, these two big cities. So yes, that has an impact on the prices of houses over there. And the solution to that is to have sustainable immigration. But these establishment political parties won't speak about that. Poilievre is saying, we must force municipalities to change their bylaws. That's not respecting the Constitution. The easy answer to the prices of houses that is going up in Toronto and Vancouver is to stop mass immigration. And like that will help. And actually, the finance minister said that in an interview a couple of months ago. She said it's mathematical. We need to have fewer people, or we need to build more houses. So the solution is fewer people. And actually, when we are saying that, when these people are going to Toronto and Vancouver, people living in Toronto and Vancouver are leaving these cities. They are selling their houses over there, and they are going to another town or another cities, and prices of houses is going up in these cities. So that's very important. We need to have fewer immigrants, and we cannot tell them, don't go to Toronto or Vancouver. We cannot dictate them where to go. We need to have people that will be with us because they believe in Canadian values, they will share our values, and they will come here to work.
I just want to pause this for a second while I have it fresh on my mind. What's coming to mind is what the left, and I hate saying the left, by the way, but for today's video, I'm just going to refer to them to the left. What their main strategy is all the time, and I see this with even local politics and the social politics, political debates that we get into. Like we're talking about drag queen story time here for kids in our own city. Like there's a debate going on around that, and this diversity education program that's requiring taxpayers' dollars to implement training on how to accept people that, men that think they're women. So there's a lot of these types of debates, but what their main strategy seems to be, and I see it consistently, is that they love to misrepresent your position. So the articles and the videos that we watched prior to this did a good job at making him look stupid. So I think what's very, very important is like watching videos like this, where we're actually getting it from the horse's mouth, because this guy, he's spitting out numbers. He's saying that he welcomes immigration, but he's looking at the negatives. He's looking at what this is going to damage in terms of the Canadian economy and the average working Canadian. Like mass immigration is, and in my limited understanding, like I said, it seems to be just a bad idea, and we need to be smart about it. And he's saying the people in power aren't looking at the cons to this. They're only looking at the pros. Here's all the benefits. Here's all the benefits. But let's not look at the damage that this will do. So I just wanted to say that, like, if you're sitting around at the dinner table and you have a family member who disagrees with you, make sure you state his case accurately. Don't let them misrepresent him, you, this point of view, whatever you're talking about. I think that's one of, when you're debating someone and when you're trying to convince someone, that's one of the first things you got to do is accurately state your case, and don't let them misrepresent it. That's all I wanted to say. So let's keep watching here.
But actually, if you look at the data right now, only 26% of them are immigrants that are coming to Canada. They're economic immigrants. That means that that person will have a job in this country because an entrepreneur was not able to find a Canadian for that job. 26% of skilled immigrants. We must increase that and having fewer refugees. And like you said, people who are crossing the border in my own province in Quebec illegally, 20,000 of them since the beginning of this year. 20,000, they're crossing the border. Do you really believe, Ezra, that their life is in danger in the state of New York when they're crossing with Gucci's and big luggages? No, they're coming here and they are not respecting our borders. If they want to come, they can come crossing the official point of entry, and they won't do that because we will tell them, you're not a refugee, you have to go back to the States. And we are the only party that is saying we must stop that. And I said during the last campaign, we must have a fence, not a wall, just a fence over there, and telling them, if you want to cross and come to Canada, you are welcome, but you just have to cross maybe 500 meters at your right, and you'll have an official point of entry, and you'll be able to cross. But we'll ask you the real questions. You are not a refugee, you must go back. But because of that agreement with the US, if they cross an unofficial port of entry, they can claim that they are refugees, and we cannot tell them go back to the US. So that's why we need to have a fence. But it's you cannot speak like that in this country. It's not politically correct. But we are doing politics.
So he's saying right now, if a refugee is trying to come up from the States and he's caught coming across an unofficial border, what we need to be doing is saying, go back through the right way, because we will accept you as a refugee. So he's saying we just need to have a fence just to tighten up our border, so it's not just this open door for anybody and everybody to come in. So I don't know why everybody hates this guy. Like, he's speaking very sensibly.
Differently, and we need to acknowledge that.
Now, you said that only 26% of these migrants are economic class. Can I ask where you got that statistic from? That's actually a shocking statistic. It suggests that, more than 300,000 people a year will be dependent. They'll either be on welfare, or maybe they will eventually find jobs. But if 74% of those 500,000 people are not economic migrants, then all the arguments for mass immigration that the liberals and others put forward are not, well, they don't stand up. Where's that figure from, that 26%?
Yes, thank you for asking. In the 75%, you have the refugees, you have the people coming under reunification of family. When you're speaking about reunification of family, it's the big family. We agree that if we are a skilled worker and you want to come here, you can come and you can bring your wife or your husband and your children. That's the immediate family. But that's not what is happening on the reunification of family. You can have your brother, your sister, your grandmom, your granddad. We must stop that. But also, if you are a skilled immigrant and you are coming here, you are the one that will work. Your wife or husband won't work, and your children won't work. So it's why, under the skilled immigrants, usually it's only that skilled person. And if you count only that skilled person, it would be 26%. And because the immediate family won't work here in our country. But the data coming from the government, they are including the skilled immigrant and his or her immediate family. That's why they can tell you that, about 50% of them are skilled immigrants. That's not real. The real number is, if you count only that skilled immigrant, it's 26%. And we are in agreement that that person can bring his immediate family. But we must know that, the wife usually or the husband won't work, and they are not coming here because we need that person to help us to build our economy. They're coming here because the husband or wife was a skilled immigrant. So that's a big difference. But the official, and if you look at the official data, that's the real statistic. 26% of them are skilled immigrants that when they will cross our border, they will have a job and they will work immediately. And usually, if you look at the data coming from Statistics Canada, it will take between 5 and 10 years for the other members of the family to work in our country.
Yeah.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show.
Yeah, so that was on Rumble. Looks like it's from Rebel News. And yeah, we got to keep the right facts and perspective in the forefront. Can't say that enough. Let's read what you guys are saying. I got to scroll up a bit. I think I have to go up quite a bit. Right here, we have mass immigration in Europe, and it causes a lot of challenges. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what the Liberal Party doesn't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the negatives, or at least they don't want to be honest about it. And I'm going to read that article in a second here. Sorry. Seeker being, they use the aging argument here too. It's called lockstep. Yep. Richard Harlem says pressure on all the government services, healthcare, education, housing. It's repopulation. Yep. You guys are smart. Richard Harlem, integration in society is another issue. Aha says, I think it's okay if they have a valid residence card. If they do, then it's okay, honestly. Yeah. Now, my perspective is, and I have to keep saying this, I have a very uneducated perspective on this, but when someone is fleeing persecution or war or whatever, like I totally am okay with people coming here, but like I guess you call that refugee, or if you get refugee status. And actually, I'll touch on it in a second because someone comments here. When my parents immigrated to Canada, my dad brought with him a shovel and $10 in his pocket, and he set foot in this country and made a living. Yeah. Of course, in a legal way, I have no problem with it, but we are talking mass immigration. Balance is gone. Yeah, exactly. Well, like someone just, who was that just said that? PDS, about his parents immigrated to Canada. Like back in the day when they were essentially building this country. That's probably before people paid taxes. Am I right? Like, I think taxes came during World War I, World War II, I think. So, but in a context where a country is, it's tax funded, like you and I go to work and we're paying for infrastructure and all these things. And we have people just coming in here and with, no contribution to that. It's a little bit of a different story between now and how it was back then when people were coming to build the country. Everybody got their fair share, and the work they put in to their community or whatever they saw immediately. But yeah, I'm learning all this stuff too. So I'm broadening my perspective. That's what this is all about, just a conversation about it. Another subject, euthanasia. Yeah. Hope not. Oh, made me seeker. Yeah. Stuff's wild. PDS Trudeau is taking a page out of his own father's book. When my parents immigrated here, the Liberal Pierre Trudeau was the prime minister. He opened the gates to immigration. That seems to be the only way that Liberals can stay in power, isn't it? And that's what PDS says in the next comment. It's all for votes. Yeah. Smash that like button and share worldwide. Yeah, I appreciate it. Oh, apparently we're already worldwide. We got Italy in the house. We got the Netherlands. That's awesome. Right now in British Columbia, there's 2 of my wife's cousins there on a working visa. Seeker being, PDS, your parents were hard workers who wanted to contribute to their new country, but in the case of what is happening in Europe, it is not the same. Aha says, I think it's the parents' job to teach their kids acceptance and stuff, not the teachers. 100% agree. 100% agree. Well, I have another video on that. I go into the whole, I like doing the 10,000 foot view because I think when you get in these back and forths where, especially online, when it's just a comment and a comment, information gets lost. So I put a very informative video. It's called The 6 Reasons Why I'm Against Drag Queen Story Hour for Kids. Check that out. It's one of my recent videos. So check that out and share it around. I think that's also in terms of a cultural conversation. Like right now we're talking about federal policies with mass immigration, but I really think the cultural conversation is something we need to, because it's downstream from federal politics. So yeah, share that out. I think it's an important conversation because it's starting to creep into our society, and we got to be on top of it. Seeker says, PDS, they are coming for social benefits. It's true. I can see that. Happy New Year, Devin Cutmore. Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. It's going to be, I'm very optimistic about this year. Now, I don't want to jinx it because everybody was saying that in 2020. 2020 vision, guys. Yeah. I'm just not going to make any predictions. I'm not one to set any resolutions, New Year's resolutions. I don't do that. I just kind of live positively, work hard, see what happens. Seeker says, I agree. Oh, no, he's replying to Seeker. I agree with you, but the system back then was even worse. My parents immigrated to Canada in the 70s. Wow. Let's talk climate change. Oh, man, that one's been an unending subject for years and years. It's been in the forefront, and everybody just hates each other over it. So politicized, and actually, I don't know if you guys have been watching Andrew Tate, his arrest, and I believe he was in Romania, got arrested. Billionaire social media influencer. Don't really care too much for the guy, but he says some true things and some really weird stuff. But he was interviewing Greta Thunberg and basically made her look really foolish. And then I think it was like within a few hours he was arrested. And it's I don't have a perspective on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is just like the suits flashing their power and framing him. But I'll be waiting for more information on that. Is Greta here too? Yes. Fentanyl smugglers. Yeah, coming across the border. I think that's what you're referring to. Likely. Are you kidding me? A fence? Yeah. Well, I would be in support of a wall. I mean, borders are borders. I'm a border guy. That's what makes countries sovereign. That's where good ideas and bad ideas stop and start. I mean, that's what sets us apart from. I mean, that's why we left the Middle East, the eastern side of the world. That's why we came here, to bring new ideas and a new way of life. PDS, all you have to do is look south of the border. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Richard Harlem here. It was 16 degrees Celsius yesterday. Just saying. It's actually pretty mild here in Southern Ontario. It's 4 degrees Celsius. Sunny. Yikes. Seeker being the IK here, go home on holiday. The Ukrainians here go home on. Okay, that's what you meant to say. The Ukrainians here go home on holiday. Len B, how you doing? Howdy, I'm late here. I hate when life gets in the way of my fun time with you in the chat. LOL. Well, you're here, so that's what's important. BDS, Highland B, Happy New Year. Awesome, great to have you guys here. Andrew is controlled opposition. So who's Andrew? Is that the guy who was interviewing him? Maxime, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know too much about the news anchors there. Maybe the former DDR has some fence for you. Yeah. Well, I think Maxime's. Well, all he was really saying is, right now people are coming across the border willy nilly when we have things in place that say if you're a refugee, you can just come in the front door. It's kind of like if you have friends coming over and they start climbing through your window. Like, no, we have a front door. Go through the front door. Like, that's what he's saying. And we need some sort of presentation that gives people the impression that we're not just this saloon door that just swings both ways and welcomes anyone at any time. So I think that's all he was saying. I'm pretty sure he would be pro wall as well, but I don't think he was ready to go down that route. Because you imagine if, I mean, that could be a good idea, a good marketing idea. If Bernier started preaching about a wall, a concrete wall, that would definitely boost his campaign for next election. Awesome. Yes, Lynn B's my gal. She always says, please remember to like this video to feed the algorithms and then share it out to help grow the channel. Thanks for your help. Yep. And please know that YouTube takes 30% of all donations. We are not government sponsored. Every dollar helps. Please support the channel. Thank you, Lynn B. For those who are unaware, Brandon and his crew do not take any of the money for personal uses. It all goes to charities and to help purchase equipment to improve the channel. Yeah, that's what we've done. That's what we've tried to do. Brooke is our local guy, Serious for Sarnia. We're here in Sarnia, Ontario. So we take opportunities to find and bring attention to the homeless issues here in town and the drug abuse problems. So we do what we can when we can to help small businesses and give back as best we can. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Lynn B. So let me read, and I'm going to probably end with this and like I said, I'm going to be learning all this stuff as the weeks and months go by, because I really think this is going to be a hot button issue. But I'm going to read the rest of the perspective of this mass immigration from, I was hearing a buzzing noise. I didn't know where it was coming from. I don't know how to say that. Bellissimo Law Group. All right. So I just wanted to make sure he was accurately representing what he was saying. Bernier seemingly argues enough is enough, and the consequences of mass immigration are numerous, including the persuasive view that immigration drives up housing prices. Is this true or political dog whistling? All right. So let's see if this is true, according to this guy. What do the immigration numbers say? And let me know if you guys agree with this, because I'm seeing this with fresh eyes as well. What do the immigration numbers say? With an increase of 300,000, over 300,000 in 2018, new immigrants to Canada remain the ultimate force supporting population growth in the nation. Although, so that sentence right there, Bernier was making a point that there's examples of countries that have fewer people and their economies thrive. So I think that's a bit of a false statement. Although seasonal patterns typically stifle growth in the final few months of the year, a staggering increase in Canadian immigration during this time propelled Canada's population to 37 million at the start of 2019. According to the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada Departmental Plan 2019 to 2020, Canada will continue to strengthen the Canadian middle class by welcoming new immigrants through a variety of programs. New immigration to Canada will eclipse over 200,000 admissions specific to the economic category, wherein applicants are considered given their strong outlook as contributors to the Canadian economy. The Honourable Ahmed Hussein, PC MP, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship, projects possibly as it remarks advantages for communities, national diversity, and the economy, all while maintaining border integrity to preserve the safety and security of all Canadians. Yeah, I call shenanigans. Like, this isn't, here's another thing the left is good at. Like, I look at this and my brain just wants to fall asleep because I'm like, okay, I got to decipher what the heck you're talking about. They confuse things intentionally. I think they like to muddy the waters and make it sound like they know what they're talking about. Now, I'm not saying this person doesn't know what they're talking about, but I just have that hunch after listening to Bernier, and he's bringing up statistics that it seems that nobody else is talking about. And he's bringing up real world examples that change your outlook on these specific statistics. So, let me throw this in the chat, and you guys can check this link out yourself. But that's my overall. That's my initial reaction to that. I'll let you guys, and I'm going to be reading your comments here to let you guys have a say here. So there's the link. Again, that's coming through as Brooke Day and Momentum Canada. It's just because he's hooked to this account. So let's close that. All right. So awesome. Yeah, Andrew Tate. Did I say a different name? I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, Andrew Tate. Yeah. Now I knew who you were referring to. because like I don't follow the guy. I just showed up in the mainstream media, and I was digging a little bit to see what all the commotion was about. Good day, all. Mike says, is immigration not population shift in another guise? That's a good question. Good point. Good question. Good point. But yeah, guys, that was a good conversation. I really enjoyed that. It's 1 o'clock. It's been an hour. And I really enjoy this time with you guys hanging out. Like I said, I'm going to be an expert on this subject, guys. If I talk about it enough, and I plan on interviewing people. So I actually have a PPC. He was a candidate in the last federal election. His name's Brian Everett. I haven't even asked him, so I'm just name dropping. Whoops, Brian, if you're watching, I'd love to have you on the show, but I'm going to ask him if he wants to come on and give us his 2 cents on this subject. Maybe that'll be next week. But I also want to reach out to other representatives. We have a conservative member of parliament. That's who our MP is in our area. Maybe she'll have some 2 cents. I just want to give everybody an opportunity. What is your perspective on this? Right? So I don't have to agree with anybody's politics to get their perspective, but I'm certainly willing to have them on. So I'm going to reach out, see who I can find. But Brian happens to be a friend of mine, so I'm hoping he follows through. So that's something to look forward to next week. If not, I'll be sure to let you guys know in the community tab on the channel. It's kind of like a Facebook status, but I can just give updates. So I'll be sure to let you guys know. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your guys' support. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That stuff is what matters. It's that's like the best thing you guys can do. Subscribe and share, like that easy free stuff. That's what we appreciate most of you guys. Of course, your comments and just everything that the algorithm loves. Mike says, former bus operator from Brampton here. I was an immigration expert every day I went to work. There you go. There you go. You're my guy. So I'm looking forward to learning from you, good sir. All right. Thank you guys so much. You guys are wonderful, wonderful people. Appreciate you. Take care. God bless. Happy New Year.